You know, we've discussed America's massive drug epidemic, which is like it's never been before in this country. But now there's new data that also speaks to over the last decade, deaths from alcohol-related liver disease have been rocketing in this country. In fact, over the past decade, people ages 25 to 34 had the highest increase in cirrhosis deaths, an average of 10.5% a year, mainly driven by heavy alcohol consumption. Here now to discuss Dr. Jen Cottle, a family physician, and Gina Loudon, Donald J. Trump for President Advisory Board member. Doctor, let me start with you, because the authors of this report said there's certainly a clear connection also with this spike, a 65% spikes from 2009 to unemployment and other factors. And you got to believe that's also a major root of the opioid crisis as well. We keep talking about it, but these numbers keep going higher.
Right. You're absolutely right about that. And I think that this study is really important, and I think it brings to light something maybe we haven't talked about before is, yes, end-stage liver deaths are on the rise, but in this age group of 25 to 34. And that's an age group we don't necessarily expect that in, especially due to alcohol. I think there are a lot of young people and a lot of not so young people who think about alcohol use and maybe drink alcohol, but don't necessarily realize that it could actually be deadly and very early in life. And Charles, as you mentioned, this has widespread consequences, from economic consequences, lost work, hospitalizations, healthcare costs, et cetera. But ultimately, it's people's lives, and this is very important.
Dr. Gina, again, the opioid crisis, which really should be called a heroin crisis and a fentanyl crisis, we know that that has wreaked havoc across the middle parts of our nation. We know that that is in part are also associated with the deep economic depression that those areas have seen, which is why I like to cover it on the stock and investment show, because ultimately, it's not just the destruction of these homes, the destructions of the family, but the inability to even fulfill their promise in an economy that's starting to grow.
That's exactly right, Charles. In fact, it costs our nation billions every year. That's just the liver disease that's being experienced now by the 65% increase in this particular young adult age group. And if I can take off my political analyst hat for a moment and put on my doctoral hat for a moment, I want to say that there are some social indicators that psychologists better wake up to across the country. One of those is the fact that when bad economic policy is in place and things like unemployment are up and work participation are down, that means there are more problems. Even the guy who led the study, Dr. Tapper, said that this was related to economic policy that led to unemployment, especially among young adults. But the other part of this that I think is almost never spoken and critical is the part that is social isolation due to failed social policies. And right now, we have an explosion in this country of young people who are leaning toward more socialist concepts. That means more government taking care of them instead of the social safety nets we've had traditionally of family, friends, neighbors, and church.
Right.
Because when government's taking care of everything, you stop depending on that safety net. Then you have nowhere to go when you have a down moment, and it leads to these kinds of problems.
So, Dr. Cottle, 63,600 overdose deaths in 2016 alone. What is the solution?
Are you referring to opioids or alcohol?
Yeah, opioids.
The opioids, yeah. Look, this is a multifactorial issue. The blame is not to be placed on just one place. As a family physician, one of the things I think about is my colleagues and myself. I partner with the CDC and the American Osteopathic Association to lecture to doctors about just how we should be prescribing opioids safely and properly to those who really should get them. But there's another side of it too. It's our patients who need them and instructing them on how to make sure and making sure they're taking them properly. But a lot of education really has to happen here. We've got to have education. We have to have drug and alcohol treatment programs. And I'm also a firm believer of Narcan. We need to have Narcan available to people and teach people how to use it. We need to save lives. So there's not just one thing to do here. There's a lot of things that we need to be doing.
Ladies, thank you both very, very much. It's a serious, dire situation, but we have to talk about it. I appreciate it. Well,
thank you.
Yes.